As African nations collaborate to enhance cross-border markets and attract large-scale investments, positioning the continent as a competitive global fintech hub, Rwanda is poised to play a pivotal role in this transformation. In January 2025, President Paul Kagame appointed Afrika as a new Chief Executive Officer of the Rwanda Development Board, RDB. Afrika brings extensive experience in public policy, regional integration and export promotion, having previously served at the African Development Bank, AFDB. Under his new leadership, RDB is set to advance Rwanda's Vision 2050. Welcome to this special episode of Invest Rwanda as we explore how Rwanda aims to strengthen the fintech ecosystem, foster innovation, and enhance regional integration, solidifying its position as a leading destination for fintech investment in Africa. My name is Flora Limuki.
In terms of the work that we do in RDB, I think it's important to note that it's directly linked to a wider strategic framework that guides the country in its approach to development. That at a much bigger level, we're talking about Vision 2050 and our ambition to become a high-income country by 2050. So that vision is encapsulated in that document, and it talks about some of our strategic priorities of building human capital, driving competitiveness and regional integration, building a more sustainable cities and agglomeration. So that's at the vision level, if you wish. It's a vision statement, an aspirational instrument of what we want to become by 2050.
The economic growth, social growth, all of this is pegged on partnerships. And when you speak specifically on partnerships with the financial institutions, even perhaps AFDB, the World Bank, the IMF, what do you envision as their position in driving growth in different sectors within Rwanda?
Oh, they play an absolutely critical role because they bring in concessional finance. So resources, not just concessional, yes, actually entirely concessional almost, both in terms of supporting our sovereign operations, like meaning government-driven operations, but also our non-sovereign operations, private sector-driven operations. And they provide concessional resources, the types of financing that comes with either as grants entirely or with 1% interest rate, grace periods of 10 years, repayment period of 40 years, and so on. So it's the kind of financing that allows you to invest in large-scale operations, infrastructure. For example, in Rwanda, a lot of our investment from the African Development Bank is tilted towards energy. The African Development Bank has helped us really close the gap in the energy sector, but also water and transport. So we target these investments from multilateral development banks, generally in infrastructure sectors, so that we generate public goods that are available to the wider populations. But they don't just operate through through financing of sovereign operations. There are many opportunities also in supporting non-sovereign operations, where we're working very closely, not just the Rwanda Development Board, but across the ecosystem, with the International Finance Corporation, the World Bank, the African Development Bank, the Asian Infrastructure Investment Bank. Rwanda is actually a member, and it's also an international financial institutions to bring these additional resources for the development of the country. So they play an absolutely critical role. And maybe I will also, while we're on this topic, moving into the future, a lot was done up until now in terms of through public investment. But the future, including in NST2, is about raising private investment, which I highlighted earlier. And DFIs have a lot of instruments that help de-risk investments, make it easier for investors to come in, instruments like political risk insurance, partial credit guarantees where they assume first loss, and the investors can come in at higher tiers in terms of losses, and so they provide a wide array of instruments that make it easier for investors to come in and invest. So they are absolutely a critical partner for us moving forward.
How do you see Rwanda playing a key role in driving economic growth, not only domestically, but also in the regional bloc?
Rwanda is a champion of regional integration, and played a huge role in actually driving forward the process that led to the creation of the African Continental Free Trade Area. But we're also a member of the East African Community, we're a member of COMESA, we're a member of ECAS, and we play a very active role in all. And you could look at regional integration in two ways, really. The first one is the hard infrastructure. You need cross-border roads, you need cross-border energy system, you need cross-border ICT systems. So there's a lot of work where we're involved with our partners across the regions I've mentioned and the blocks I've mentioned to design the plans first, because it starts with master plans. What do you want to do in energy? What kind of power interconnectors do you want to build? Do we have the studies, the feasibility studies to mobilize the financing? So we are actively involved in determining the transport networks that we are going to finance, maritime, road, rail, so that we plug regional infrastructure gaps. That is the first priority. We must make it easier for people, goods, services, and capital to move. I think this is ultimately the goal of regional integration for people. Imagine traveling around, goods, capital, and services to move. So that's on the infrastructure. The other part is for the goods, the people, the capital, and the services to move. You need a harmonized regulatory framework. And this is what the Secretary General was mentioning earlier. He mentioned the protocol on digital trade. It's about harmonizing regulations on digital trade. But the African Continental Free Trade Area also has a protocol on goods and so on. So, and it's the same case for all. In each situation, you find a deliberate drive to create a single market through shared infrastructure, but also shared rules and institutions. And this is where the East African Community Secretariat comes in. This is where the ECAS Secretariat comes in. This is where the COMESA Secretariat comes in, to bring us all together, to agree on the rules, and then to implement those rules that will help us eventually create a single market across Africa. And for us, Rwanda, we've always been at the forefront of driving these efforts. At a national level, by positioning Rwanda as a logistics hub, multiplying the number of destinations, but also by being, by working together with the regional economic communities I just mentioned.
Perhaps as a parting shot, I'd like to pick some of your key takeaways from the Inclusive Fintech Forum.
It was a great event. It's a growing sector. It plays very much into our Rwanda's positioning as a financial hub, and it was quite telling to see the number of fintech developers, the number of private equity funds. So you had a mixture of fund providers, technology disruptors, if you wish, telecoms, banking, all together, because that's what you need. The tech innovation, particularly in the financial sector, happens at the intersection of banking and telecom. And for that to happen, those two have to create an environment where they open up, particularly their APIs, so that developers can design instruments that create a market that facilitates financial inclusion and so on. So my takeaway is it's the second edition, and it's really playing its purpose of bringing attention to Africa about the potential, to Rwanda, but not just Rwanda. It's Rwanda but it's really, I think we need to look at it as the bigger continent here. Bringing attention to the tremendous potential of fintech in Africa, the revolution that is happening, and so that we galvanize the interest, but also the capital, so that we also learn from each other. There's a lot of networking going around, people learning from each other, networking, and I think this is my takeaway. It was quite. RDB was very much proud, of course, to be associated with it, and it was a huge success. Many congratulations to the Kigali International Financial Center, and I think it's definitely achieving its objectives of bringing, this conversation around the promising future of fintech in Africa, the challenges that we're currently experiencing, but also, and most importantly, the solutions to mobilize additional capital and bring these technologies and solutions to Rwanda and the wider continent.
Thank you for tuning in on this special episode of Invest Rwanda as we engaged the Rwanda Development CEO, Jagai Afrika. And indeed, the future of Rwanda's economic growth is burgeoning. Rwanda's second national strategy for transformation is a forward-thinking blueprint designed to propel the nation towards inclusive growth and sustainable development by 2029. Its success hinges on the collective action from government, private sector, and citizens. By aligning with the Vision 2050, NST2 sets Rwanda on a trajectory to achieve middle income status by 2035. My name is Flora Limuki. Goodbye.